Hey guys, and welcome back to your one room schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mom to a kindergartner and a second grader, soon to be a first grader and third grader for next school year. And I posted about 2 months ago a video series about our curriculum picks for next year for the school year 2025 to 2026. And I had these picks figured out for months. I mean months before I did these videos. And I thought, no problem me posting these in March. I won't change anything. Well, a few things have changed over the last 2 months to do with not just life changes, but my kiddos have evolved and changed, and some things we're going to be switching up. And I just thought it was important for me to share these changes with you. And there were enough changes that I should do a full video on what we are updating for our curriculum next year. Now, the beauty of homeschooling is that we get to customize our education to our children, which is exactly what a lot of these changes were for us that needed to be done. Some of it is also different perspectives on education that happened over the last couple months, as well as we have some life changes coming up, and we needed to simplify our schooling just a teensy bit more, not a ton, but just a little bit more to help us be able to achieve the goals we wanted to in our education, but also be able to live the life that we want to live outside of schooling, of course. So with that being said, I'm going to try and not do a full 4-part video series like I did for my original curriculum picks for you guys. My plan is to try and get this done in 2 videos for you. This first video that I'm talking to you in right now will be my girls' individual subjects and any changes that happen to those, any electives that they're doing individually, basically anything we are not doing in a group subject. And then my plan is for the second video to share with you all the changes and updates that we are making to our group subject picks for you guys. And that'll be it. We'll be done. And then we're moving into summer school, and we'll be then doing all this amazing curriculum that I'm about to talk to you about. Now, moving forward for future years with homeschooling and posting videos, I think what I might do is that I might continue my posting plan of March, not telling you my curriculum picks for the following year, but to do maybe more of a brainstorming video, guys, with you. Let you know what I'm thinking about, heavily considering, or maybe if I'm torn between two. I love getting y'all's opinions too. You guys are like a wealth of knowledge. You guys have really helped me out with some of the stuff that we've decided to do in the past. And then that'll probably be about March timeframe, and then May release my official curriculum picks for the following year, because I feel like by May I have it solidly figured out what we're going to do for the following year. The reason I want to even post anything for you guys in March is because I know a lot of homeschoolers, to include myself, do a lot of heavy planning in March for the next school year, and just being able to see what other people are doing, getting ideas, being able to brainstorm and talk to each other in the comments within these videos. It's really, really helpful to have that. But I also at the same point don't want to say, hey, this is absolutely what we're doing. You know, if you're following along with what we're doing, which, you know, you should absolutely do whatever makes the most sense for you and your family. But I just don't want to necessarily, I don't want to say like let you guys down, but say, hey, I pulled a bait and switch on you 2 months later. I decided to do something completely different. I don't want to do that to you guys. So I hope that you don't feel that way when talking about these changes we made in this video and the next one. But if you have any questions or anything about what I'm about to talk about, leave them down in the comments. That's my favorite place to be with you guys. We have a lot of good conversations. I get a lot out of it, and hopefully you guys too. So enough rambling. Let's get into my first grader. That is so weird to say. My soon-to-be first graders curriculum changes that we're making for next year based off of my previous plans. So she doesn't have a ton of changes to her curriculum, but the one big one that we're doing is actually in math. So without going into her whole backstory, because I've talked about it a lot in my videos, we originally had her doing Math Mammoth at the beginning of this year. She is way ahead of where she needs to be for not only her age, but also her grade level. And about almost halfway through Math Mammoth grade 1, I was like, let's pull back a little bit. Let's hang tight. She kind of seemed a little bit more resistant to the curriculum than she was when we first started. And I said, let's just print off some The Good and the Beautiful Math 1 lessons for you to do. It's free. Why not use it? And it'll allow you to kind of really solidify your math facts, have fun, because it is a fun curriculum. It's colorful. It's got a lot of engaging manipulatives, things like that. And then my plan was originally, once we finish this, then to go back and pick up where we, not finish this, I should say, probably, sorry, not finish the entire grade, but once we stopped wherever we were at the end of this school year, at the end of kindergarten, go back to Math Mammoth for next year and pick up where we left off. Well, the reality is that she's doing really well with the Good and the Beautiful math. And she'll be done, if we keep on schedule, she'll be done with the second unit of math from the Good and the Beautiful level 1 by the end of the school year, which means she'll be 2/3 of the way through this program. And I was like, why am I gonna have her start all over again with another program just because I realized, y'all, this was driven a little bit by a selfishness on my part. My oldest daughter is doing really well with Math Mammoth. And I kind of wanted both my kids to be on the same math program because if we're being honest, it is easier for the teacher, the parent, to run the same math program at different levels with their kids. You're not having to do things differently. And it makes a little bit more, it just takes the burden off the teacher a little bit, if we're being frank, right? So I sat there and I was like, why am I going to force her to do something? Because this is the thing, I brought up going back to Math Mammoth for next school year, and she literally was like, please, mommy, no. And I was like, you really don't like it. Okay. So, but she does like this, and it's working and it's going well. So I basically sat down and took an internal look at myself. I was like, Mary, do you really need your kids on the same math program? Because they are very different people, I'm realizing, when it comes to their learning styles, when it comes to math. And I was like, okay, I really don't need to, because both programs are fairly easily to implement. So I was like, let's just keep going. So instead of moving over to Math Mammoth next school year, we're just going to keep rolling through Math 1 and finish that out. And if it's still going well, we're going to roll on to Math 2. So along with that though, this is the thing. One of the things that I loved about Math with Confidence when I was doing it with my oldest daughter, and my youngest daughter did kindergarten through Math with Confidence, one of the things I loved that they did and my girls liked was the 10 frame, the visualization of the 10 and dividing it in the pairs of 10s. And so what I want to do, just to really make sure, because again, my youngest daughter is going way farther than she needs to be for her age and her grade, I want to make sure that her math facts were super solid. So alongside of the Good and the Beautiful math, we will also be doing, and have already started because she thinks it's super fun, Addition Facts That Stick by Kate Snow. And then we'll kind of do it just like whenever we have time. You know, this is mostly games, but it's really working through math facts. I would like to try and do it 2 to 3 times a week alongside her the Good and Beautiful math. And then when she finishes this up, as long as she's mastered and she's good with her addition facts, then we'll move on to the Subtraction Facts That Stick by Kate Snow, and so on and so forth. So long story short, because you know I love to make a short story long, moving forward, as long as it still works for us, we will be combining the Facts That Stick series with the Good and the Beautiful math for my youngest daughter. As long as it keeps working, we're going to keep doing it. And so far it's going really well. And she gets excited when I pull this book out, and you know, I can't ignore that it's working for her. So there's 2 other things that we've added in for my youngest daughter. These are small things. One is we are going to be doing Blossom and Root level 1's mini poems. So if you're not familiar with this language arts program, it's more of a Waldorf inspired, Charlotte Mason inspired program. And we actually used the entire language arts for level 1 for my oldest daughter last year. And what they have in each of the lessons is they have these word playlists, as well as a mini poem for each week. And so I'm definitely gonna do the mini poems. I still printed out the word list. I didn't print out the entire student notebook. As you can tell, this is a lot thinner than it should be. But I printed out the word list and the mini poems with every intention of absolutely doing the mini poems. But then also, just for a little added extra, you know, phonics practice, I thought I would still actually have her do the word list if we have time. If not, it's not a big deal. We're not going to do it. But my oldest daughter really loved the word play with these word lists with Blossom and Root. So I thought we kind of threw that in there if we had the time. But more importantly, I really like the mini poems, and so did my oldest daughter. I really think it helps a lot with grammar, understanding vocabulary, reading. There's so much that comes out of this. So again, this will just be 1 time a week. Maybe it'll take her 10 minutes to do the whole thing. And as she starts to really improve her reading skills, this is an independent activity she can do to give me some time to work with my oldest daughter. So that we're adding in. again, more as an independent thing for her to do. And then another thing that she can do independently is mind benders. This is for logic. And it says it's for grades pre-K to K. We've actually already started it because I printed it off and both my girls were like, ooh, can we do that? So we've started it and it's going really well, and my oldest daughter, or my youngest and my oldest daughter, really like it. So we'll just continue this on into next year. And I have level 2 that I will print out for her whenever she finishes this, and we'll just keep going. Again, it's just something educational, fun, and independent that she can do that, again, gives me that more time back with my oldest daughter that I can focus on one-on-one work with her. All right, y'all, let's move on to my rising third graders changes we've made to her curriculum. So I will say we made one really big change for her from our original plan. And it has to do with her language arts. Math is staying the same. She's doing so great with Math Mammoth. We're leaving that alone. I originally was going to have her do the Good and the Beautiful level 3 language arts next year. And for 2 reasons, I decided to switch gears. One is that I have always planned since the end of last school year, I had planned to have her do the Writing and Rhetoric program from Classical Academic Press. Starting in either 3rd or 4th grade. I really like how it builds on itself. It's such a solid program, y'all. For writing, it follows the Progymnasmata classical approach to really creating really good writers who can write persuasively, but ultimately also it improves their rhetoric. So speaking persuasively, argument building, debate, things like that. And it can take her in from 3rd grade basically into high school. Well, I was like, maybe we'll hold off and start it in 4th grade because, the Good and the Beautiful was going so well for her this year. I was like, let's just stick with this for a little bit longer. The more I've gotten into level 2 and with how language arts inclined my oldest daughter is, I was like, this is going to be a disservice to her to wait another year for us to do writing and rhetoric. Because if I'm being completely honest, I don't love the spiral approach that they take to language arts with their writing specifically for my oldest daughter. It's not connecting as well with her. The rest of it's going great, but like the writing is just, the way they do it is not enough for my daughter. She needs more because she's good at language arts. She's good at writing. She's good at reading. It's just her jam. It's her thing. So with that, I have decided to not wait a whole year. We're going to stop the Good and the Beautiful and we're going to start writing in rhetoric. One of the other things I was going to mention about the Good and the Beautiful, I was looking at the samples for next school year. We are a secular family. The course book is totally doable for me as a secular mom with the mention of any type of religion to either work around it, or we're okay with a little bit of it being in there, no big deal. However, when I was looking at the samples of the readers that accompany the Good and the Beautiful level 3, there is a significant increase in the religious content in those from level 2. And I had been told this by some of you actually from the forum, the secular, the Good and the Beautiful Facebook group, etc. I had been told this happens. I just wasn't sure where it happened. It happens moving from level 2 to level 3, just so you know, as a secular family, if you're using the Good and the Beautiful. So much so that I can't edit it out or take it out because it is so ingrained in the crux of the story. So I realized, unfortunately, level 3 is where we need to bow out and say goodbye to the Good and the Beautiful language arts. But again, that's not the main reason. The main reason is that this program, it's so good, y'all. And we actually decided to try it out because the sample, they let you print out the sample. And there's actually 3 weeks, I think, worth of lessons in here for you to try out. So we took advantage of the fact that we could try it out over our spring break week that we took off because we were doing no other curriculum. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for us to try this program out. And we did the first week. So it was 4 days worth of lessons. And my daughter and I really liked it. It went really well for her. It not only does writing, but it does reading comprehension. It does copy work, dictation. It does rewriting of a story. So she gets to kind of rewrite it from a different perspective. There's vocabulary in here. There's Latin word roots, root words. I'm definitely mixing that up. You know what I'm saying in here. And so there is just, there's literary analysis, there's literary terms introduced. There's so much that goes into this program. And I like that there's so much in it because it simplifies our homeschool a lot too, because we can do it all in one program. Obviously adding a few things like grammar and some other stuff, but for the most part, this will be the bulk of our language arts program moving forward. And the more important thing is that my daughter liked it too. She was like, this is cool, this is fun. So we are gonna start with book 1, which is Fables. And then the second half of the year, which I haven't gotten it yet, will be narrative 1. So we'll be moving into a different type of writing. And I think I'm just so excited about it. I think it's gonna go so well, y'all. So alongside of that program, like I said, we're gonna have to add in grammar, and we're gonna have to add in spelling. So originally I was planning to do Fix It Grammar book 1. I found this at the Dollar Tree for 50 cents and I scooped it. I was like, I gotta get it. This is the older version, by the way. There's a new updated version. Well, the thing is that we've been doing first language lessons this year, level 1. We put a pause on it when we started the Good and the Beautiful level 2 for my daughter, just because I was like, oh, it has grammar in, the Good and the Beautiful. Why would we double up on that? Well, a few weeks ago, my daughter was like, I kind of miss doing first language lessons. Can we add it back in? Because we had maybe like 17 lessons to finish. We're almost done now, by the way, because we did add it back in, and she just was like, I love this so much. And I was like, it really is a good program. And I was like, do I really want to deviate from it, or do I want to start, Fix It Grammar? So I thought about it and I talked to her about it. So what we're going to do is we are going to do first language lessons level 2. We're going to just follow it as is, do it 3 days a week. And if we have the time, we are going to do a few lessons from here throughout the year, mixed with that if we have time. The reason that I'm even considering combining them, oh gosh, my necklace got caught, y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay, got it off. Whew. The only reason we are considering combining them is because they are different in the way they approach grammar. We really like how gentle this is, how it approaches the lessons in a very oral way, but there is still a little bit of writing as they get older in this. What my daughter and I like about this, though, is that it's kind of problem solving. Like, they give you the wrong sentence and then she has to fix it. So it's approaching grammar in a different way, and her brain is approaching it differently. We won't finish this. My plan is to finish this next year. This we won't. It'll just be a supplement, and it'll just be when we have time, and it'll just give her a different way of approaching grammar and more of a problem-solving way in a written way. So we're gonna just kind of combine the two, basically. This will be our main, and this will be a supplement when we have time. So the other thing we need to add into our program, since we're not doing the Good and the Beautiful anymore, and it's a whole, it's a whole language arts program. It has spelling, it has grammar, it has vocabulary, it has all that stuff in it. The only other thing that we need to add to writing and rhetoric and first language lessons is some kind of spelling component. So I was thinking about doing one of two things. One, I was thinking about spelling UC because I've heard really good things about it. I looked at the samples. It's very much Charlotte Mason, classical inspired. It's dictation, copy work, all the things that I love. The other thing I was thinking about was like, well, I have something that's kind of similar to that at home already that I own that we could use that's worked for us in the past. So my daughter and I decided that we're going to go back to using the McGuffey readers with my companion notebook that I have. I got this off an Etsy shop that is very Charlotte Mason inspired. It's Verily Schoolhouse. I'll link it down below. I think I even have a 10% off coupon code that you can use for your first purchase from her. She's got so much stuff on there, but I love this companion notebook. I even have a video on how we were doing our language arts with this. I'll link that up above if you want to go check that out. So we're going to go back to this with our book 1 from the McGuffey reader, the first eclectic reader. I think we were about 60 to 70% of the way through this when we paused it when we started the Good and the Beautiful. And here, let's see, we left off at lesson 47. Yes. So 47 was the last lesson we did with this. So, and I think there's 60, oh gosh, how much are there? I had printed 63 lessons. So we'll just pick back up with this. It's gonna be too easy for her, but that's okay. We'll just plow through it. I don't want her to miss anything. I think this is such a great program. I'm actually kind of excited to bring it back in. And so was my daughter. She's like, wait, we get to do the McGuffey reader again? I was like, yes, let's do it. So we're gonna do that. And then when we finish up the first reader, I'll print her off a new notebook because I'm kind of doing these notebooks by reader. Then we'll move on to the second eclectic reader. I'm kind of pumped. It's gonna be great. So we're gonna do spelling through narration, dictation, and copywork in here. Go check out Verily Schoolhouse's website. She's got a sample that you can see what it looks like inside, or go look at my video that I posted previously where I talk about how we use the McGuffey readers for all of our language arts needs. It's gonna be good. I'm excited, y'all. Okay, last but not least, for my oldest daughter, the small things that we're adding in. So just like my youngest daughter, she's gonna be doing Mind Benders Level 2. She's already started this. She actually might get done with this before the school year. So if that's the case, I'll go ahead and purchase the PDF for Level 3 and print it off for her and have her do that. Great for logic, great for independent work. It's solid all the way around. The other thing, and I've talked about this in previous videos, that my daughter will be doing is this book from Clever Fox. I'll link it down below. It's called The Kids Journal, and it's a creative writing book that helps them also kind of feel through their feelings and talking about that. I'm trying to remember what video I did. Oh, I don't want to show her work. I'm trying to remember what video I did where I talked about this, and I kind of did a flip through of it. I think it was my mid-spring update, I think is what I talked about this. So if you want to see a little bit more of an in-depth view of this. So they talk about their feelings. They write about why did you feel this way? And then a creative prompt you can either draw or write. Whatever the creative prompt is asking you to do. There's stickers. It's solid. It's really good quality. So she's going to be adding that in for a little bit of extra creative writing that she can do independently. And then we are doing a health elective with my oldest daughter, which I already talked about. One of the books we'll be using, which is The Care and Keeping of You, one from American Girl. Love this book. But I realized this isn't going to get us through the whole year. And on top of that, it doesn't only talk about physical, but it really focuses on the physical care and keeping of you. It doesn't really, it does a little bit. There's a small section in it where it approaches the emotional side, the mental side of you, and the care and keeping of that. So I'm going to also be combining that with the feelings book from American Girl. And I think these two combined are going to create a really good year-long health elective program that's perfect for this age at 3rd grade level. This could absolutely go up to like 5th or 6th grade too. And then when she gets a little older, we'll do The Care and Keeping of You 2, which gets into more preteen, teen type things that you want to kind of address. But I think this will be a gentle, easy way. We'll sit down, we'll just read it. There's nothing crazy. We're not going to do any activities with it. We're just going to sit and read it together, maybe once a week. All right, y'all. This video is getting long, so we're going to make this quick, this last little section, okay? Well, I probably won't. I say I always do and I don't. So I'm going to attempt to, okay? There's 2 things that I want to talk about with my girls that aren't individual, but they're a change to both of them. So if you watched my previous videos, I talked about how we were going to do free reads for each of my girls through the Ambleside Online list, and then a few other things that I threw in there. Year 1 for my youngest daughter, and year 3 for my oldest daughter, or year 2 for my oldest daughter, from Ambleside Online. Well, a lot of those were also from Build Your Libraries Level 1 because we're doing ancient history next year. And I decided that we are actually going to combine them. I was like, why am I going to run 2 separate read alouds for my girls for free reads? That's too much. I want to combine us together. So I did that, but I also removed all the Build Your Library Level 1 read alouds from our free reads. I will tell you why in my next video because it pertains to history, how we're restructuring that. Because I'll be reading those alongside of our history story of the world main spine. So you'll notice I'm about to share with you the list. There's no Build Your Library recommended books in here. It's only Ambleside Online or random ones that I wanted to do. So here is our list. I have this is in my new planner. I'm going to do a video on this. I printed this out from an Etsy shop, and it was a really cool file planner that she created. It's a Charlotte Mason style one too. I really like it. So we're going to do Dr. Dolittle. We're going to do the 5 Little Peppers and How They Grew. We're going to do 5 Children and It. I'm kind of excited about this one. This looks really good. We're going to do Farmer Boy, Little House on the Prairie, The Story of Dr. Dolittle, We're gonna do Pocahontas from Delore. We're gonna do Nim's Island, and then we're also going to do Otto of the Silver Hand. These are not scheduled. These are just, hey, we're doing a free read at night. When we finish one, I'm gonna let one of my daughters pick the next one. Kind of like probably let them alternate who gets to pick what we do next. Super simple, just fun, relaxing reading with my kids together. Okay, last but not least to talk about in this video, science, which if you watched my previous videos, you knew or know that it was a group subject for us previously. And we were originally going to do the Little Hearts and Hands from the Good and the Beautiful series. We're gonna do 3 of them, 1 per term for both my girls. We are no longer doing that for both my girls. My oldest, I don't know what happened. I swear, in the last 2 months, she has gone not only through like a physical leap, she is just sprouting up. My husband's a lot taller than me, so she's gonna be way taller than me, that's for certain. But she's also gone through a mental leap. And I realized that the Good and the Beautiful Little Hearts and Hands was not gonna cut it for her maturity level and for what she really wants to do for science. So I sadly was like, oh no, I think I'm gonna have to split you guys up for science, which I'd hate because they're only 2 years apart, but they are also very, very different mentally where they are in maturity and understanding of science concepts. So after doing a lot of discussion, a lot of thinking, we have decided to do elemental science for biology grammar stage. This is something that I actually was planning to do all along. If you've watched any of my videos, you know, like from last summer or last spring of last school year, I decided I was going to do elemental science because it is that classical approach I like. And I just like the idea of recycling through all 4 of the major sciences. And I just don't know why I tried to go away from it. But so yeah, we are gonna do biology next year. I even got the kit and everything from it. I got the PDF version of these because I like the fact that when Charlie, my youngest, moves into this, I'll just reprint her off a new student workbook. And I've got a very economical printer. My EcoTank is awesome. So we are going to start this. She was really excited. Because I even offered up the Blossom and Root fungi and plants unit that we own for, I think that's level 2 Blossom and Root science. And she's like, no, I want to do biology. Because I showed her the contents, because we're going to do an anatomy unit, we're going to do a plant unit, we're going to do animals, and then just understanding the living world, what is living, what is not, single-celled organisms. She was like, let's do that. So, and then I showed her the student workbook guide. I'm going to do a whole review on this after we get really into it and tell you guys what we think. If you want me to, I can do a flip through and an explanation of how the program works. I can do a dedicated video for that. If you want to see that, leave that in the comments down below. There are 3 spines, but also additional recommended reading for each week, but there are 3 spines that you need, and I have 2 of the 3 so far. So we're going to be using first Human Body Encyclopedia, and we actually used this last summer briefly when we did that oh my gosh, what is it called? It's from Little School of Smiths, and it's the cutest little unit about anatomy, and it's perfect for younger kiddos. I'll leave it down below. But we used that book already, so I already had it on hand, which was great. And then Biology as We Know It, and I found this at the thrift store, so that was kind of a cool find. And the last book we need is basically the book that's this version, but it's the animal one. I'll leave a picture of it here. It's the Animal Encyclopedia one that we need, so I just got to grab that. I was going to try and see if I could find it from my thrift store between now and next school year, and if not, I'll snag it off Thrift Books or something like that. So that's going to be my 3rd graders science. It's really great because they have a 2 and a 5-day schedule, depending on how much you want to spread it out, how much you want to do per day. And since I'm running 2 different sciences, one for my younger, one for my older, I'm going to plan to do the 2-day-a-week science. And then I'll do my youngest daughter's science 2 to 3 days, depending on the week, to get it done. So that's kind of how we're going to do science every day. It's just, well, I'm going to be doing science every day. My kids will only be doing it 2 days a week. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I'll let you know how that goes. And then for my youngest, we are not changing what she's doing. We are going to continue with the Good and the Beautiful Little Hearts and Hands. Just a reminder, if you didn't see my previous videos, we'll be doing Field and Flowers that first term. That's going to be great for the fall time. Everything that goes on in here, that's a really good part of the season to kind of dig into this information. And then for winter, we'll be doing Sparks and Stars. That will be term 2. And then Wind and Waves for the spring. Again, a really good time of year to be studying this kind of topics. I will be able to do this at minimum 2 days a week with her. Every couple of weeks, we'll have to throw in a third lesson if we want to get completed in that 12-week term that we run. But these are super simple. Shouldn't be too tough for us to do that. The reason I didn't bring her in on the biology is she's just not ready for it. She's not. And I like the fact that between all 3 of these units, we cover all science for the most part. We're hitting everything in the world of science. And I think for first grade, I kind of feel like that's the perfect approach. Like you want to do lay out a full feast introduction to all sciences. And then after first grade, as long as she's ready, I'll probably bring her in and have her start doing the elemental science, starting with biology, just like her older sister. So I'm kind of excited. I'm a little nervous to run 2 sciences at the same time, but it's a necessity that needs to be done based on their mental ability, their maturity level. My oldest is there. She needs to go, and I can't hold her back anymore just to try and keep them together with my youngest daughter. It's not fair to my oldest daughter, so that's what we're doing, and I'm kind of excited about it because I love science, so I get to do a lot of science next year, but I'm a little scared about my schedule. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on how it goes. Y'all, that's it. Hopefully this video didn't get too long and I was able to do it all in one for you guys. So no, making you wait to find out what we're doing. And then again, I'm going to try and get group subjects done in one video for the next one you'll see here. If I can't, at most, it'll be 2 more videos. I'm so sorry if it turns into 2 videos, but I think it's not fair to y'all to have you sit around for an hour listening to me. If you have any questions about anything I talked about in this video, leave it down in the comments. I will link everything down below that I can. And if you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.